Welcome back, trainers, and we have the next cup for the month of June announced, and that is going to be the Rainbow Cup. This is a very interesting one here, seeing that we have 5 types, and not only that, it is only going to be for Gen 1 and Gen 2 Pokemon to participate in. So, with that said, let's go ahead and talk about the types here. Obviously, it's going to be 1500 CP and under, like always. And with that said, let's go ahead and talk about this. We have Fire, which is going to be not very effective to itself, neutral to electric, super effective to bug, super effective to grass, and not very effective to water. Then we have electric, which is going to be neutral to fire, not very effective to itself, neutral to bug, not very effective to grass, and super effective to water. Then we have bug, that is going to be not very effective to fire, neutral to electric, neutral to itself, super effective to grass, and neutral to water. And then we have grass, which is not going to be very effective to fire, neutral to electric, not very effective to bug, not very effective to itself, and super effective to water. And then you have water, which is going to be super effective to fire, neutral to electric, neutral to bug, not very effective to grass, and not very effective to itself. So with that said, let's go ahead and hop into the meta here. We're going to take a look at some of my Pokemon. I'm going to give you my thoughts on what might be good in the meta. Obviously, we're going to be leaning towards the Community Day starter Pokemon. That is going to be a given. And then we're going to head over to PvPoke to see where the rankings are. Now, I haven't really seen that. I was watching the whole Singapore PvP live stream, which they briefly went over it, but I was actually making breakfast and I didn't get to see the complete lineup. All I knew was Charizard is going to be on the top, and I do believe followed up by Fortress. So I did have a little bit of a sneak peek, but my choices are not going to be completely biased as far as the PvPoke rank. So with that said, let's go ahead and hop into my Pokemon and see what we have going on for this Rainbow Cup. All right, so we do have all 5 types pulled up here, and we're simply not going to go past Gen 2 Pokemon. And another thing you need to take into consideration is that the Alolan forms will not be able to participate in this cup. Very important there, because you can go in there with the Alolan Raichu and put in some work. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into this. We have the starter Pokemon, of course, with the Community Day moves, which are definitely going to be present in this cup. Vine Whip, Frenzy Plant, Sludge Plum, Venusaur. Now, if you're wondering, should you go with Vine Whip or Razor Leaf? Well, it's up to you and how you feel comfortable with it. If you're going with Vine Whip, you're going to be able to obviously get out that Frenzy Plant and Sludge Bomb at an extreme rate. And then moving down, we're just going to kind of scroll down here, and then I'll give you my thoughts on the top metas. As a matter of fact, actually, let's just go. So we already know Charizard, it's on PvPoke, is number 1. We're going to go through the whole list here in a moment. So Fire Spin, Blast Burn, and Dragon Claw. If you wanted to run Air Slash, I mean, it's up to you. But I think Fire Spin is going to be good. If you are up in a mirror match, you might be looking a little bit better. And finally, Blastoise is going to be able to participate in these cups. Other than the first one that was, ever released, was a free-for-all. I did have all the Community Day Pokemon, including Blastoise with Hydro Cannon, Water Gun, Hydro Cannon, and Ice Beam. So you'll have a bit of coverage there going up against those grass types. If you were able to survive whatever grass moves and you didn't have any shields left, Ice Beam will be doing a pretty good amount of damage to those grass, as well as possibly bug and flying type dual types there. And then if we keep going down, we have Beedrill here. I mean, it could show some good potential here. Let's go ahead and move on down. This is a cup where this is a Pokemon that I don't know where it's going to be ranked, but I was thinking, well, all right, so you have Venusaur, all right, so you'll be able to have that Fire Fang. Now, what if you were able to go in there with Wild Charge? I mean, you're going to be super effective to Blastoise as well as Charizard, and even those bug and flying types. I don't know where it's going to land on the meta. We'll see here in just a moment. And then you have Poliwrath. If you are, lucky enough to have one of these Mudshot legacies, you will be able to charge that at an extreme rate. Not too sure it's going to be the best option, but it is definitely there. You have Victory Bell with Razor Leaf doing massive damage. But I think what's going to excel here, let's go ahead and wonder where Lapras is going to land. It's pretty interesting. So we're just going to kind of scroll here. If you're wondering, what about Meganium? Is that going to be pretty good for this cup with Frenzy Plant? Well, you're better off going with Venusaur for sure. Because when we did have that first cup that was permitting all the types, I actually did have the match with my Venusaur going up against a Meganium. and I was able to get to that Sludge Bomb a lot quicker, and that's what gave me the edge going up against that specific one there. Typhlosion is going to be something, but I don't have one in the Great League, which is quite odd, unfortunately. So, moving on here, we have Lantern, a lot of baby Pokemon. Azumarill, oh brother, here we go with the Azumarils. That might have a presence, but with the grass Pokemon that are going to be available, who knows? Quagsire is a favorite of mine. For the regionals, this was going to be on my team. Unfortunately, I was not even able to do any battles, so I wasn't even able to use it at all. But I was, in fact, going to go in there with that. Mudshot, Earthquake, and Stone Edge. You may even want to run Acid Spray to lower that defense to give you the little bit of edge when you switch in to do a lot more damage with your quick moves. So there is that option there. Although Earthquake and Stone Edge are great moves, doesn't take much to charge them up, and you will be able to hurt that opponent without any shields left. And then, of course, we had Fortress, which we know is going to be second on that list there. I do have one here. Unfortunately, it does have 15 in attack. I'm not bringing it up to its true potential for the PvP. You're going to be looking towards that lower attack. I haven't really done anything with it, so we'll mess around with that probably later on. Caesar, is that something you want to consider? Well, since it's going to be extremely weak to fire types, being a bug and steel type, it's going to be going down much like Toxicroak meeting Confusion. So I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to have too much of a presence in this meta here. Quillfish, possibly. I can't wait to look at the PvPoke. Now, something that I think is going to excel more than anything in this cup, and that is going to be Shuckle. Now, I'm just joking. Shuckle, don't do it. All right. But I am looking at Kingdra here. Okay, so if we were going up against, say, Charizard, we know that it has Dragon Claw. That's going to be super effective to you. But Kingdra does have the potential to do super effective water damage as well as Dragon Breath. So, I mean, that's going to be neutral to a lot of types in this cup, unless you're going up against a Steel type, right? Or possibly an Azumarill. But other than that, it's going to be putting in a lot of work. The only thing of Kingdra's downfall is the charge moves take quite a significant amount of energy to finally get off. But I'm looking at Kingdra, I'm wondering how that's actually going to perform. And that is going to be the end of the line here. Didn't really get into too much. So let's go ahead and hop over into PvPoke to see what we have as far as the meta is concerned. But one more thing we do have for Ralligator. I have Waterfall, Hydro Cannon, and Crunch. Wonder where that's going to land. So let's go ahead and head over to PvPoke now. All right, so we have the Rainbow Cup pulled up. And this is going to be overall, we're going to go leads, closers, and attackers. We're not going to go down the complete list because once you reach a certain point, it's just going to become irrelevant for you to even use. So number one, we see Charizard, okay, with Fire Spin, Blast Burn, and Dragon Claw, Fortress, Bug Bite, Heavy Slam, and Earthquake, Venusaur, Vine Whip, Frenzy Plant, Sludge Bomb, Typhlosion, there it is, Shadow Claw, Blast Burn, and Solar Beam for that nice coverage against those water types. That's absolutely great. Meganium, Vine Whip, Frenzy Plant, and Earthquake. Not too sure. And there's that Beedrill. We have Poison Jab. Now, if you do have Bug Bite, don't change that at all. Your best bet is to just make a whole new Beedrill, because obviously you want to keep that legacy Beedrill with the Bug Bite because it's actually very good. Poison Jab is going to also be great, but don't change your legacies. Then we have Quagsire here. Mudshot, Stone Edge, and Earthquake. Great. Very nice. Ninetales. Oh, right. Finally showing something. All right, because I really like Ninetales, Fire Spin, Flamethrower, and Psyshock. I do believe one of those are going to be a legacy. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Flamethrower is legacy. Fire Blast is legacy. So if you're holding on to one of those, you may want to consider it. Man, all right. So Psyshock too, interesting. Yeah, Psyshock is a killer. Ivysaur, Vine Whip, Sludge Bomb, and Power Whip. And there's that Azumarill at rank 10 with Bubble, Ice Beam, and Play Rough. Not looking so hot for this cup, but it's still in the top 10 for overall, so it's not looking horrible. Mantane, okay, Wing Attack, Aerial Ace, and Ice Beam. It's going to be extremely weak to electric types. And then we have Magneton. Pretty sure this is all legacy stuff. Yeah, Thundershock, Discharge. Yep, you're looking legacy. Its matchups are going to be great up against these specific types here. Tentacruel, that's another one on my radar that I did not go over. Raichu, that's obviously not the Alolan form. We have Thundershock, which is going to be legacy, so I already know somebody who has one of those. And then also, Thunder is going to be Legacy, but it's not even something you want to consider. Wild Charge, Thunder Punch, then Brick Break there. Mag Cargo, all right. Raikou, very interesting. A little expensive for that secondary move, but if you have it. Exeggutor, Confusion, Seed Bomb, and Solar Beam. Victory Bell, Heracross, Scyther, Lantern. Let's go up to 30. Blastoise hitting up the number 23 spot. Ouch, ouch. Celebi, all right. Confusion, Psychic, and Dazzling Gleam. And then we have Zapdos at 30. All right, very nice. Let's go ahead and look at the leads here. So we have Charizard, Mantane, okay. Fortress, Ninetales, Beedrill, Venusaur, Exeggutor, Magcargo, Quagsire. All right, so and there's Tentacruel. That's one I'm pretty interested in as well. Poison Jab, Acid Spray, and Hydro Pump. All right, so Acid Spray, as you may know, is just a very weak move, which costs a significant amount of energy, but will lower your opponent's defense. So not a horrible move. It's actually pretty good for specific strategies concerning quick moves. And then we have Magneton, all right, and Slowbro at the 20 spot for leads. Now let's go ahead and go closers. We have Venusaur, Vine Whip, Frenzy Planet, Sludge Bomb, Fortress, Bug Bite, Heavy Slam, and Earthquake. And then we know the moves on the rest of these here. Charizard's losing that spot, going down to 13 for a closer. Kingdra finally making an appearance. I mean, Dragon Breath, Outrage, and Hydro Pump. I'm very interested. I want to do some of these battles. I have a very busy day. We just had new Gen 4 Pokemon. You're like, why are you covering this? Because, guys, I love PvP, so I have to make it a point to cover it. I will be going over those other things that you are requesting, like how good is Earth Power, and I need to find myself a Gibble so I can invest those rare candies and, get myself a Garchomp. Go out there and test it out and see how that works. All right, so overall attackers, we have Charizard, Fortress, Beedrill, Scyther, Scizor, Moltres, Venomoth, okay, Venomoth with Bug Bite, Poison Fang, and Silver Wind. And then we go down here and it's looking pretty, all right. We have Ponyta. Okay, that's good enough there. Those are attackers. So Ponyta, I've actually went up against that thing before, not regarding this cup, but it was a bit of a nuisance, so that's something to take note of. So there you have it for PvPoke's rankings regarding the Rainbow Cup. All right, trainers, so I am still looking at Kingdra here. If you were to be matched up against an Azumarill or possibly even a Fortress, it may not be looking too hot for you, but we all know that Dragon Breath is going to be great. Mixed with that Outrage combination and Hydro Pump for a hard-hitting move. Say if they had no more shield, then he would be looking pretty good there. So I definitely need to give that a shot. And I have this one all ready to go. Does it have a secondary move? Not quite yet. It's going to be 75,000 Stardust for a secondary move. But I'll tell you this, going up against my friend Chark, he likes to use these off-meta Pokemon. This isn't necessarily off-meta for this specific cup, but for others it was. He used it, and it actually helped him excel through these battles. So shout out to him for using that and showing me the potential of that thing. I already know it. It looks pretty good. Other than that, I'm assuming there's going to be some off picks here to throw people off. I don't know how well this may perform. We do have Acid, Dazzling Gleam, and Leaf Blade on the Blossom. I don't know. It might show some potential there. Lantern's going to be getting destroyed by those water type or by the grass types. I do have Water Gun, Thunderbolt, and Hydro Pump on this one. But as we've seen, Charizard's going to be taking the spot as well as several other bug-type Pokemon. So, yeah, it's something to take note of. A hard counter to Charizard could be Omnistar here. There is several of them out there to counter Charizard, but this one will be doubled up resisting that fire move. So, something to take note of. You will be putting in work onto that Charizard for sure. Okay, and who knows, even Starmie might pull up as a surprise, depending on what quick move, hidden power, HP you have. So yeah, looking at that there. Other than that, I think Magneton might be a solid option. Depends if you were going up against a Charizard. And you did have the legacy moves. It's a very squishy Pokemon. This Tentacruel will be landing at 1500 on the dot. I have considered powering it up and purchasing a secondary move many times, and I think now might be the time to do so because Tentacruel is a fairly decent Pokemon. And with that said, trainers, I'd like to say thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and get hyped for the Rainbow Cup and look forward to some PvP battle tests in the future. Take care, trainers.